beginning January 2024.
Hey y'all, Kenya is on the move. If you haven't heard, we got some wonderful information we are excited to share with you.
Kenya has today abolished visa requirements for all global visitors.
My minister has informed me that somehow some of our officials made you to pay visas to come home. And he asked me to apologize, which I do. When one comes home, they don't pay to come home. And I want to promise you that that might be the last time you are looking for a visa to come to Kenya.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Let me introduce my team. There's Tom Abayo, there's Ron Asembo, and then there's my son, Mano Tuju. He's one of the directors of this establishment. It's so nice to get to be introduced as a contractor, because that's how he met me in overalls when I was building the house which he's staying at the moment. It happens to be my sister's house, but one of the things I do when I'm not doing politics is to build houses. And even as I talk with you now, I have 2 sites, actually 3 sites, where we're building across the country, and I've been building for many years of my life. I wanted to congratulate you for one thing, that you've crossed many oceans to come to this place. Because most people cannot even cross the street to live across another part of town. They're in their comfort zone and they never leave. So the fact that you have crossed oceans and seas to come to this place speaks volumes about your attitude in life, and I can assure you, you're going to succeed. I am congratulating you, but I feel that I need to be able to also appreciate the challenges that crossover from one part of the world to another part of the world, just how challenging that can be. Because I've done it before. I left this country in 1996, moved to the United States, and I lived in the United States for 6 years before I decided to come back. I was consulting for World Bank, for several organizations, Bill Gates Foundation. So I lived in the Washington area of the United States for 6-7 years. Then I came back in 2002, straight into the political arena. But my son has never stopped thanking me, because he went to high school there, and every time he was driving to school, because he was allowed to drive after age 16, he was always terrified because he would be stopped for the offense of driving while black. That young man there. So he knows, and I know, just the challenge of being in another place where you are a minority. I know how it feels when I would go to a Nordstrom. I was a successful television producer. I was the first person in Africa to win an international Emmy Award. But when I went to the Nordstrom in the mall, some people would trail me whether I can really afford to buy the suits I was claiming that I wanted to buy. So there was always this awkward feeling. And I remember one time, because I was flying in and out of the US, and I came in one time. I was coming from a production in Malawi where I was filming some productions for, I think it was UNICEF or World Bank, whoever it was. And I got into the airport, and they look at my passport, and they see how many times I'm traveling and the number of places I was traveling to. And just because I was black, I had to go for secondary examination, secondary questioning. So that is when I recognized that it doesn't matter that I was living in one of the best suburbs of the Maryland, Washington area. If any of you come from there, it was Potomac. Maryland? All right? But then I realized it will never be home. Come on. It will never be home. So I feel that I know where you're coming from. And I want to congratulate you for making the very, very brave decision to come home. Welcome home. The owner of this home was called Dr. Patterson, and he came into this country in 1916. He built this home in 1924. It's exactly 100 years old now. At that time, there was no cement in this country, so they imported cement from the UK, by ship, by train, by ox cart to this place. There was no roofing tiles. The roofing tiles of the old house you see there came in used from Bombay. And that time there was no water in this compound. So when you leave this place, just behind here is where he dug the well, which works until today. There's still water in the well just behind here, about 2 meters from here. And they came, there was no TV, there was no internet, there was no radio, and there was malaria. Now, you guys, having crossed the ocean in 2024, 2023, 2022, come on, you're gonna make it. Come on. You can only succeed. I mean, if this man succeeded being in this place 100 years ago, to make that bold step, to make a difference in his life and the life of their families, and they took off. And they're successful in other parts of the world now. One of them is still in the country, but the rest were able to take the opportunities that they had in this country, and they have made it. So really, I wanted just to encourage you, having taken that exceptional step of coming out here. There will be problems.
So many times I have been getting questions from African Americans. They've been asking me how to move into Africa, Kenya in particular, and I've been getting questions how to acquire visa, the processes needed to require visa, how much should someone bring when moving to Africa. And as an African, I was invited to a particular African American event where we had so many African Americans moving to Kenya, and these people are very, very informative. The people who we met were very informative. They were able to provide information for the African Americans, and this information was able to help those African Americans who are already at the continent, and some of them who are willing to come. So I find this video very, very interesting, and this video very, very informative for you as an African American who wants to move to Kenya or who wants to move to Africa, because I believe some content of this video is going to help you decide, and is going to be helpful regardless of the country in Africa on which you are moving to. So that's all, and let's dive into the video right now.
It depends at what stage of life you are. Are you into long-term investment or short-term investment? But the one thing I can tell you from my experience is that you never go wrong in this country when you invest in land. I remember when I first invested in land in this area where we are, it was coming to about that time in dollar terms, it was maybe $4,000 an acre. first vote. Now, of course, it is something else. I don't want to tell you, but I can tell you that it is better to be involved in the land business than to be involved. So I would advise, you know, wherever you can buy some land in this country, you can't go wrong. Of course, the 3 rules of location still apply, but even if you just have one location, invest in it and leave it there for the next generation. It is always cheaper to buy a piece of land and build your house than to buy a house which is already built. It costs you anything up to 50% less, because the construction, if you do it yourself, is about 30% down. And then if you buy the land yourself, it's really up to 50% down. That's the little I can tell you. But if you ever want to consult on those kind of things, my son is there.
So they determine the residency status. The point to note is determining factors for tax residency in Kenya. Number 2, resident versus non-resident tax obligations. That's a key point. The next one is the type of taxes in Kenya. So you have income tax, value-added tax, capital gains tax, and withholding tax. All these will be explained in a separate session with our professionals. The tax obligations for foreigners, taxation of income earned in Kenya, tax exemption, and reliefs for expatriates. Tax rates and thresholds, personal income tax rates for residents and non-residents, corporate taxes for foreign-owned businesses, very important. Tax filing and compliance, that's tax return filing requirements, deadlines for filing tax returns, penalties for non-compliance. Double taxation agreements, overview of DTAs and their impact on foreign taxpayers, how DTAs prevent double taxation for expats. Tax planning strategies for foreigners, that is, structuring investments to minimize tax liabilities, taking advantage of available tax incentives. Tax audit and dispute resolution, that's the tax audit process in Kenya, dispute resolution mechanism for tax-related issues. So those are the key pointers that we are going to look out for individually, based on the lines that each of you guys individually choose. So we'll guide you accordingly. Additionally, it's been interesting that our immigration clients don't want us to stop at immigration services. So once you offer exemplary and remarkable service, they want you to get them some licenses. They want you to help them with what and the other. So it has made us slowly transition to not just an immigration consultancy, but to a fully fledged facilitator company, facilitating different services our clients need. And on that note, we have some interesting parcels of land available. You can book with a dealer. We will have those trips. This coming week, she will communicate the dates, and you don't want to miss out because it's something really special. So thank you very much. Thank you for your time. We know so many people have traveled all the way from Mombasa, and we don't really take it for granted. Thank you very much, and we'll be here for you. We'll be here to support you. We'll be here to make your transition to this country as smooth as possible, because you'll be our ambassadors to bring the African American diaspora into the country. Ironically, Kenyans want to go out, but thank you so much.
So in Kenya, you realize we have almost 44 banks that are registered at Central Bank of Kenya. We have a Central Bank of Kenya, and these 44 banks are licensed by Central Bank of Kenya. So one of the banks there is ABC Bank. ABC Bank has subsidiaries also in Uganda, and we also do capital where we do investments of cash, and at the same time we do insurance. We have an insurance brokerage, ABC Insurance Brokerage. So even for the medical cover they were discussing about, we usually give you medical covers, and for the hospitals that are here in Kenya, some of them accept the insurance from the US, because they usually talk to insurance companies here and they're able to compensate one another. And in the banks in Kenya, you can transfer funds from your Kenyan account to your US account. We only usually have a problem with the US citizens because of FATCA. I'm aware you guys know FATCA. FATCA usually.
Explain it to them.
FATCA is a foreign, it's a taxation company. It's a tax company in US that requires us to be compliant. So when you're opening an account for US citizen, and it's very good, I'm coming after Traveda as presented, because we require you to have a work permit if you are not a Kenyan citizen, or also you do not have you are not a Kenyan citizen with us. So, but for US citizen, additionally, we would require them to fill a form called W9. If under IRS, you will get a form called W9 where we will declare your taxes, and usually, as opposed to declare to, let me read for you what it says for FATCA. We would call you the diaspora. Okay, for you now to open an account, we will only require your passport and KRP. You are a foreigner, because when you're opening an account in Kenya, literally say, I want to do business in Kenya. So you have to have a pass, a permit. And then also we will require for the US citizen the FATCA. We declare that the W9, we give us that number in US. What is the name of that number? Social Security number. We use that when you're opening an account.
That's right. I hope, and I sincerely hope, that this information was able to help you, and you as an African American would now be able to move into Africa, settle in Africa, do your life in Africa, because Africa is truly where you belong. You were taken from Africa 400 years ago. This is where you belong. Come live in Africa. Guys, that's all for today. If you like the content that I do, be sure to subscribe to the channel, be sure to like the video and share. See, this is my lovely home, and it's Africa. Yeah, I'm proud of this. So you as an African American, life is cheaper, relatively cheaper in Kenya as compared to the United States of America. Move to Kenya, enjoy what Africa can offer you. And thanks for today. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one. This is your boy Evans from Kenya.